How's it going today, guys? Today we're going to be reviewing the Penn Carnage 3 spinning rod. It's their latest and greatest rod, especially their spinning rod just came out recently, probably a little less than a year ago, I would say. I've had it for about 6 to 7 months now, around there. I actually have two. The other one is right here next to me, and they're both matched to Penn Authorities, which is their other latest and greatest reel. If you haven't seen my review video on that, be sure and check it out on my channel. Be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, that way you don't miss a future video, and smash the like button on this video. And with that being said, let's get started into this review. So, as I get started in this review, I just want to say, these reels, I have them linked down below in the description. If you don't have one already, I recommend getting one and checking out my previous video. That's also linked down below in the description. So, with that being said, let's start. So, this rod is a medium action rod. It's a 7-foot medium action rod. This one is a 7-foot medium heavy action rod. So, two slightly different rods. Obviously, depending on your application and the fish you're targeting and how you're fishing for them, it's going to depend on what type of rod you need. And there's a great variety of Penn Carnage 3 spinning rods for you. So get what you need. It's been a really great rod. It's gotten beat up quite a bit. I've had a couple of the guys I fish with like drop on the floor. Actually, one of them hit my fan in it with my house, and it didn't do anything to the rod, thank God. I don't recommend testing it, but nothing happened. Still functions perfectly fine. The grip on these rods is really nice. It's really comfortable to have in your hand, especially through a long fight. And you can really hold this rod for a long time, and it's not going to bother you. And it's going to stay in your hand nice and firm. That way, you can put more power on the fish. It's just going to make the fight so much nicer. You don't have to worry about it like wobbling so much back and forth. Like, you can hold this and you can control the rod where you want it to. And the other thing is, especially with young kids, I've noticed, is that if they're fighting a fish with a lot of drag, a lot of times like their hands will slip down the reel, and that kind of makes me scared, because all it takes is another strong push and that reel might fall out of their hands. But they're really able to get a good grip on it. Even if it slides, just lay it down next to the next finger mark. Especially this one, the medium heavy, it's even bigger, and you can really get a good grip on this rod while you're holding it. It's comfortable to hold, so it's not like it's an uncomfortable thing to hold in your hands while you're fishing. And it's really nice. The grip is like one of the nicest parts about it. It's got double locking on it right here, so as you can see, that's always nice to have. It's super smooth. I really like it. It's got a really nice butt on it. You guys see that right there, and it's a really nice rod. The guides on it right here, it's got plenty of guides. This is a 7-foot rod, so it's not really a casting rod. If I needed to cast something with it, I don't really cast a lot of poppers and stuff like that with it, because I'm more using it offshore, just pitching out a bait to school a fish here, or dropping it back on a flat line, or dropping it down jigging for something like grouper or snapper. So that's not really its purpose. But the nice thing is this medium action rod, it's got a really sensitive tip. Same thing with this medium heavy rod. And it's going to allow you to sense bites if you need to. This medium heavy rod, obviously they have medium, medium heavy, medium light, and heavy, depending on what you need it for. So like medium heavy, that's got a little bit more backbone in it than this rod right here. So that's going to allow me to put more pressure on the fish, like bottom fishing. Another reason why I have medium heavy is that this is a Penn Authority 10,500 size. It's got 60 pounds of drag. I'm using this rod for a grouper and some pelagics, but primarily a grouper. So I want a rod that I can put a lot of heat on it, and I can definitely trust the Penn Carnage 3 to do that for me. This other rod is more of my king fishing rod. I use them both for both situations at the same time. However, I do use this for king fishing more often. It's got a really nice light rod, so it's really flexible. So if the fish takes off on a run and it's barely hooked, it's got a lot of give in it, and it's going to help increase my odds of putting that fish in the boat. Another thing about having a light rod is for casting. You're going to be able to cast a lure better with this rod than with this rod because it's more flexible. And that's just part of like the action of the rod that you're getting. So that's something you have to consider while you're buying the rod. So obviously think, what are you doing? What fish am I going to be catching? What kind of rod do I need? Am I going to be putting a lot of pressure on this fish? Very little? Do I need to be sensing a bite or whatever? That's going to decide what action you need for the rod. Now, for me, here in Florida, medium and medium heavy are pretty much my ideal rod setups. I could have gone heavy on this one, but I wanted to have light enough to where I could also still play around with other fish up on top, like pelagics, like blackfin tuna, kingfish, even Spanish mackerel too. They're smaller, so a lighter rod would be nice to have too. These are super light, like the rod weight itself is super light. And what's really nice about that is you can hold it in your hand, especially this 8500. I could jig with this all day and I don't get tired. So the rod is a really light rod. It's really well built, it's well constructed, so it's not going to break. Like, once again, I had a couple buddies in my house using them, and you know, they did not treat my rod as well as I would have liked them to. They scratched on some stuff, but the rod has no scratch marks on it. You know, it's got no dents in it, and it didn't break at all anywhere, so it's super well built and super strong as well. The guides on it are really nice, and it allows the line to flow through it smoothly. The guides on top of these reels, or these rods, I should say, I don't know if you can really see that there, but you can see it's a larger guide. So what's nice about a larger guide is if you have like an Albright knot, FG knot, if you have a little swivel or something that you're reeling in, it's gonna flow through it better, and it's not gonna get hung up on there where you would have the little guide that it would get hung up on. So the knots are gonna go through easily, especially like if you're just using like a leader to leader knot, and you got like your leader is like maybe 10-15 feet long, and then you have a knot. So it's gonna flow through the guides really easily and get onto your reel, so that way you're not going to lose the fish. It's not going to have any negative effect on the fish because it flows through the guides really easily. So that's what's really nice about this, is the size of the guides it has. It can also be used for casting pretty well. This is a 7 foot, so it's not really a casting rod. The grip on these rods is just so comfortable and so nice. And with that being said, I have to say I absolutely love these rods. The only negative is that they're kind of on the expensive side, but most rods you are spending for a decent rod is probably at least $100 to $150. These were $230 or $220, $230. I don't remember the exact price I paid for them, but they're definitely up there. You can buy nicer rods, obviously, but for the price, these are really nice rods, and they're really enjoyable to use. Really light, well built, well constructed, and a comfortable rod to hold while you're fighting a big fish. Good luck, guys, out there fishing. Before you go, be sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, smash the like button on this video. Check out the Penn Authority video I have down below in the description, as well as the links to them to where to purchase them. With that being said, thanks for watching. Let me know your comments on the video. And with that being said, until next time, guys.